take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Welcome to Life in Red.
All right, so we just came through Mental Health Month, and now we are moving on to, I guess it's Men's Mental Health Month. It's also Pride Month, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention everything going on in the world right now with Black Lives Matter and the protests, and stating right off the bat that I stand with you, and I've had some incredible conversations on this podcast with some prominent members of my community, at least, and learned a lot from it. But to hear for today, at least, we're going to be joined my good friend Paul Marlow. How are you, my friend? Thank you for joining me.
Ryan, I'm good, thank you, and thank you for having me on for Men's Mental Health Month.
Yeah,
the months keep coming, but it's a great thing.
Yeah, it's I think rightfully so. In some cases, it's getting a little buried in the news and on social media, and that's fine. But when
100% fine.
Yeah, when you think about everything that's going on, especially, it's men especially, I hear it all the time, like, we don't talk about mental health enough. And I know tons of people who suffer in silence, especially men. So I think it's still an important time and an important opportunity to talk about it. I know you have a pretty unique story, and it's a pretty vague and open-ended question, but I'll just let you tell the story. How did you get your start in, mental health advocacy and speaking about it and talking about it? Where did you get a start in that?
Well, I think it can relate to some people now if they want to start speaking their voice and they've been too afraid in the past. I really do think now is a great time if you are a man, female, someone of color, or anyone, to voice out now how you have been feeling, because this is when people want to hear your story. And I found that out 2 years ago now. I lost my dad, and I had somewhat of a social media following that I decided at the time was just, fitness and lifestyle. Just that guy out there, one of the billion people that talks fitness and lifestyle. And I thought, well, I'm just going to share what's happening right now, because I don't feel like talking fitness and lifestyle, because I'm depressed and I am going to lose my dad at the time when I started. And I realized I was going to lose him, and it was just set on the wall. We just weren't unsure when it was. And I was like, I feel like I should be posting these days, and I feel like I should do my social media, but I don't feel like doing those things of going out to take shots of me, to do a workout. And I wasn't even good at it. I didn't have a big following for that. But I decided, screw it. I'm just going to post something today about how I'm feeling. And I'm going to go on Instagram stories. And at the moment, I was sad and depressed and realized that someday my dad will be gone. And I felt, why can't I share this exact moment in my life? Why do I have to fake it with something positive and cheery and you can do it motivation? Whereas, like, I can't do it right now, but I'm just going to tell the world that I'm feeling this way, and it's okay, because we can't always 100% be on. That was essentially the start of it all.
Right. It's, for one, I'm sorry, because that is like the worst fear, I think, of anybody, and one of the most imaginable pains and grievances that people can ever go through, is losing, a parent or a partner, someone who's close to you and that you love unconditionally. So when you first, you have these people, your friends, they know you as, Paul, posting workout videos and fit, you're a handsome guy. And then you came out with something like this. What was the immediate reaction from people who knew you and your followers?
It was one, I think it was, really honest with you. Thank God Paul's not posting another shirtless selfie, because I think that really was it. And I kind of despise myself for posting shirtless selfies all the time at that time too. I just didn't have anything valuable to say. So I'm like, well, this is what the crowd wants, even though they probably didn't want it. But really, it was amazing. It was hidden DMs of, we appreciate what you're doing. Thank you. Keep doing this. A lot of people were like, I feel this way. I just don't want to share it myself. A lot of my friends were, thanks for sharing this. We haven't seen you, been curious what's happening. But it was hidden. A lot of it wasn't on my comments. Like, I would get likes and it was hidden. And it was essentially what mental health is for us. I think it's how society looks at it. Like, we will talk about it behind closed doors, and I'll congratulate you for being open and brave to your face, but not so anyone else can hear it. And there was a community, there was a very positive thing, which made me realize this is something that needs to be talked about more. But it also showed me that when I do talk about this, I'm going to bring people to the forefront. And if they come in my DMs and say, thank you, I'd be like, can you please put that in the comments so other people can see this, so they can realize that it's okay to say this to someone that you appreciate, or it's also okay to go out on your own and say it to the world, because you just get these positive comments from these people 99% of the time.
Right. I've had pretty much a similar experience. It was Bellet's Talk Day in 2015. And I put out like a thread about and it was the first time I ever shared it with really anybody, that I tried to kill myself when I was 21. So that was, 5 years later when I first started talking about it. And it was a very similar experience. Now, it was on Bellet's Talk Day, so it got a little bit more traction, but yeah, a lot of people in the DMs. You're right. It wasn't a lot of public comments, which is it's interesting that you bring that up, because even to this day, when I share stuff, we share a similarity where we're incredibly candid on social media. If anyone, I'll get the plug right off the top. You can follow him on Twitter at Tall Paul is Life.
Tall Paul's Life.
Yeah. But, it's, we're two people who share the just honest thoughts. Like, I think back to that time when you're like, does anyone remember sex? I was like, man, who tweets that? But I appreciate that honesty, and I think it catches people off guard, that when you see someone being honest and like just sharing like a thought that I think a lot of us have thought, but it doesn't fit my brand, or I don't want to get in trouble. Like, no one talks about
brand. Sorry, can I swear on this one? Because that's part of my brand. Is okay, good.
Yeah. But it's interesting. People, I don't know, like they're scared of authenticity almost.
100%. Yeah, I don't think they're scared of authenticity. I think everyone wants to be authentic, but they're just afraid of what the norm is. The norm isn't authentic.
Right.
The norm is, let me not smile in my picture and look cool. The norm is, let me post something that's safe and vanilla just in case someone doesn't like it. Let me post something where I won't lose followers. Nah, fuck that. I'll post shit to lose followers, because I don't want to lose them, but I'd rather have someone who doesn't know me say like, oh shit, that guy's real. There's something going on here. I'd rather follow this person and engage and comment on his things and be part of the community than have these sheep, for no better word to put it, just like, let's stay in the safe pasture and just kind of play together.
Yeah,
I don't see that. That's not how we're helping mental health long term.
Yeah, it's true. You get the bloggers and influencers and the engagement groups, and it's all like this manufactured engagement that it's not real. These people can make a living, and a lot of it's great and whatever. I try to support people who just do content, because as I'm sure as a content creator, it's hard enough out there to try to get your message to the forefront and just share things with people, and they listen and participate. Totally. But it's a lot of it's so fake. Like, there's people I know now who are doing, like, they're just everyone's becoming a wellness expert. Like that's a huge thing right now. They take an online course for like 3 hours on a Thursday afternoon, and then their Instagram's like a wellness expert, and they're telling me what I need to do. I'm like, what is happening? Like I just can't.
And that is one of the, I think that's a big thing also with what I try to do is with the honesty, but it's also the honesty as in I don't know. Like I am not an expert. I haven't gone, I'm not a therapist. I haven't taken my wellness course. And people ask me questions on food and fitness and when I should do some journaling. When first off, I'm like, oh, I don't ask me as I'm a professional, but if you want my opinion, this is what it should be.
Mm.
I think the people like you and me who are just like, fuck it, this is what it is. This is who I am. I'm going to share everything just to show you what we're going through. And if you can learn something from it, amazing. If you don't, but we inspire you, amazing. No matter what it is, but I will never tell you, you have to do this to get this.
Mm.
No, because we're all different. And I kind of have a bad thing with those people who are just like that. It's like, I'm going to take this course and say, I'm a professional and I will tell everyone how to do it on Twitter. No one wants to be told what to do on Twitter. No one wants to be told what to do ever. Show them by your actions that you know what's happening and you've improved or you've bettered yourself. And they will come around and stick around and learn from those little tidbits you're dropping everywhere. And then they'll come to you one day saying like, hey, I see you gone through this. You did this in the past. I'm going through this now. Can I get some information from you? And there you go. That's where you're starting something.
Yeah, absolutely. Now you were you like a personal trainer before, like prior to all this?
Yeah, that was the last 7 years. PT was my main gig.
Right.
Yeah.
And I meant to mention this off the top, but congratulations, you just launched your new business, Never Alone.
Well, thank you.
So, you did you quit your job as a part of that mental health kind of break you had with your dad? Like, was that all kind of part of it?
Yeah. So I'll be honest with you, the last like 4 to 5 years of my personal training, I was doing it because it was part of my safety bubble. It was part of my safe play. It was enough income to keep me just treading above water to make me feel comfortable, but not taking me where I wanted to go in life. But at the same time, I was too nervous, too shy, too afraid to step out and really push something else for the potential of doing something I love and perhaps make an income and a life I can enjoy. And then the dad thing hit, and the blessing in that was, what can go wrong from here? How can it get worse than this? So what would my dad have done? Like, I went to his funeral, and then to be honest with you, I went to my aunt's funeral, and then I went to my dad's best friend's funeral. And within like matters of months, and listening to, because they all died from cancer randomly within like 3-month period. And it was like, well, shit, they did that at that age, and they did that at that age, and they went there and they did that, came back and restarted their business and grew. And like, what am I doing hiding in Vancouver downtown, paying this insane rent, not really enjoying what I'm doing? And what do I want to do? I want to start this company where I can actually appreciate. I want to help the mental health area and hopefully transform it. And I want to create something where, shit, I can go live somewhere else in the world while working the job that I love. Now, due to COVID, that's kind of changed a bit. I have to adapt. But I threw it all aside. I cut down my personal training after dad passed. One thing was because of the depression and anxiety, like I wasn't getting up. I was texting my clients like, I'm sick today, or I'm not making it in. And I've had them for 7 years, and they're like, that's okay. We'll see you the next day. But it was coming so often that I cut it down to 3 days a week instead of 5. And then I cut it down from even then, like 3 days a week, 4 hours per day, for about a year. But to be honest with you, I was actually making the same amount of money because I just wasn't wasting time when I was working. I got more efficient.
Right.
I learned how to run a business better. but yeah, I wouldn't suggest everyone do this because, to be honest with you, like I'm in debt. I've always been in debt for the past 10 years just due to life choices I've made in 10 years and then living in a ridiculous, expensive city like Vancouver. But at the same time, I was in debt for 10 years of personal training and I couldn't figure it out. Why shouldn't I do something or try something I love and be in that same amount of debt and then just try to find my way out of it? So that was my mindset.
Right.
Fuck it, go for it and adapt if need be.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest things, and it's funny that you mentioned, because anxiety and depression are such a, like, it's a hindrance to wanting to try that new thing. You know, I've been through that a lot. Go when you're, you know, talking about, especially when your career, you know, it's the thing that pays the bills, and taking that chance to do something maybe that you want to do, and something that's safe and easy, and you know you're gonna
Mm-hmm.
get the check. It, you know, anxiety and depression, like, it's one thing to do it for anybody. It's scary, but when you have that active thing in your mind, like, it, you know, for me, I literally can't get over the hurdle if I need to. I haven't been able to figure that out yet. It's
Mm-hmm.
that much of a hindrance
Mm-hmm.
to try to figure it out. Like, the shit's scary.
Yeah, no, and hey, man, I was the exact same way, really, exact same way. I had wanted to change everything up for about 5 to 7 years. I just didn't do it. I got too scared, too scared. So scared is that, like, when I'd move, I'd make sure I would live an apartment that would hit kind of the same bus route, so I wouldn't have to change bus routes because I wouldn't have to add an extra layer to
Mm,
a change in my life. Like, that's how minuscule these things were. But I was like, no, I can't move out there because then I'd have to find another bus and I don't know it. And no, I'm going to pay more money and live somewhere on the same bus route just so I can be sure everything's easy. My life doesn't change that much from this moving.
right.
That was how I was. And then I was like, that was from like 22 to 28 or 30 even. Like, I was a man, or, well, not really a man, but I should have been a man. But yeah, I was the same thing. And then really, the old man kicked the bucket and was like, nothing can get worse. I feel like shit. It sucks. It's going to be hard because I'm fighting a battle at both fronts. But it was the way I approached it, actually, it helped me be able to move out of both areas. I took small steps in each direction. And once I won a battle in my depression with my dad, a small one, I would implement it into my work. And then I'd implement that work one into my dad. And I would go there back and forth day by day, week by week, adding these new tools that I learned to slowly find my way up, 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 out, and then slowly find my way into a new realm I've never been before.
Right.
And that's what I've been doing the last year, just a whole bunch of new shit.
Yeah. And not to, you know, not equating what we're going through now with
Mm-hmm.
COVID, but to, you know, the, you know, death of a parent. But,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the word grief has been tossed around a lot right now, especially when it comes to, you know, what a lot of people are experiencing for the first time, I think, for the last, shit, it's almost been 3 months now. What were some of the, so, you know, you're at the lowest point you can pretty much get at.
Yeah.
What were some of the tools you learned that you were using, that you were able to implement despite feeling like shit, that were able to help, you know, slowly, like you said, you know, piece by piece, step by step, and dig you out of this hole and starting to make more positive change? Because I think that some of those things are what people are looking for the most right now. What are those small things I can do to find that motivation again when, you know, everything kind of seems hopeless in the world right now?
Totally. And man, you can totally equate it to losing a parent. Everyone feels things differently. I remember when COVID started and it changed my whole plan and Never Alone. And a week sucked. It was hard. I had lost my scheduling and I lost my goals and I had to find them again. And it was like the same thing of when I lost my dad. And it was like, okay, I'm not going into work. I took a month off work because I just couldn't do it. I was like, screw it. Um, and I just was in my apartment downtown. I'm like, okay, I have a month off because mentally I just can't go there. And that was fine. I was like, I have a month off. Like, I can't just sit here and do nothing every day without trying to better myself somehow. So bettering myself for me is like getting back into the gym, which isn't that hard for me. So I'm very lucky. It's just something that comes naturally to me. So I'm like, okay, we'll have to learn something new. I'm like, well, every day starts off the same way. Like, it depends. If I get myself in a good mood to start the day, I have a better chance to make my way through those 12, 15, 18 hours of the day. So I started reading up on blogs, and actually Tim Ferriss, a bunch of his stuff. And it was like, I need to set myself a morning routine, something that I can follow right after I wake up. And if I am able to follow it through the 45-minute routine that I'm going to make for myself, then I can go on to the next thing in the day. If I don't make it, I go through as many steps as possible. And if I have to, like, screw it, I'm out, I'm pulling the cord, I'm done, it's been 30 minutes of my day and I just can't get going, I go back to bed. But the thing is, I achieved something. And tomorrow I try to achieve one more area in that morning routine, and I see where I go from there. So yeah, the morning routine was really the biggest thing that helped me achieve, like, remind myself that I can do things, that if I set out to it. It also showed me that I can learn new things, which when my anxiety and depression through my 20s, I didn't like learning new things. They scared me. So it kind of set me up for success with my depression and success with learning how to start a business.
Right.
Morning routine.
It's funny you say that, because I'm the same way. And I remember I was watching, it was like just like one of those random viral videos on Facebook that someone shared, and it was the Navy SEAL, lieutenant or commander, whatever his title was, but he was talking about starting your day, making your bed.
Mm-hmm.
And I just watched it. And, you know, he went on talking about all these things the Navy SEALs did, but like the whole speech was like, you know, you got to start by making your bed. And I was like, shit, and ever since that day, I literally, like, if I only do one thing that day, which thankfully I'm kind of like in a similar circumstance to you, where I'm able to find a lot of extrinsic or intrinsic motivation to go out and get shit done.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but there's been time, you know, like when we were trying to set this up and I told you, you know, I couldn't, because I broke up with my girlfriend and I couldn't muster up the energy to talk about it. But like, so those couple days I didn't do anything, but the one thing I did do was make my bed, just to be like, I did fucking something today.
Yeah.
And then just built from it from there.
Yeah. Like, you made your bed, then you can wake up the next day like, okay, I know that's possible, I can do that again.
Yeah.
And then I know that's possible. Like, it just gives you that some grasp of reality and some promise to hold on to.
Yeah, it's a win. It's like, if it's the only one you're going to get that day, it's still your win.
It's a win.
Which
I
is
like
huge.
Yep.
So before, you know, all this happened, what was your experience with mental health, if any? You know, were you, you know, was it in your family? Were you aware of it, of depression, anxiety, and you know, all the different types of illnesses? Like, was conversation a regular part of your life? Did you understand it yourself? You know, like, what was your relationship with mental health before, you know, your dad even got sick?
I didn't have one, which
Right.
is the funny thing. Like, I didn't think about it. I would never have gone to a therapist before. Growing up, I never talked to my family. I was the youngest one, and my sister was very smart, and my mom and my dad, my sister, had conversations, and I never felt smart enough to join in, which is, I'm now learning through therapy and through situations in the last year, like, this is a lot of why I am who I am. And why I never tried to achieve anything. It was because growing up with my family, I just felt like I just couldn't. I felt they were there for me. They did a lot of stuff for me when I didn't feel like I could do it. My sister, my mom would step in and help me out. But unfortunately, that set the standard for me that someone can always do something for me that I don't need to learn. And like, I had that in my mentality until 27, which is not good. So yeah, a lot of things. And growing up also, I'm 6'7". an ex-athlete. I got drafted by the Toronto Blue Jays. I played 2 college sports in Louisiana.
Oh, wow.
So athletics have always been part of my life, and I've always been gifted and blessed with my genes. But I also never learned how to have a work ethic because of that. And also, I found out through therapy through this last year that I was always ashamed of my growing up. Like when I got drafted by Blue Jays, it should have been like one of the happiest days ever. I was ashamed because I knew I wasn't as good as I showed on paper, and I knew my teammates and the players around me knew that also. It was all potential, and I was ashamed that I got drafted and others didn't. And I hid more that day. I didn't want to tell anyone because I didn't believe that it was something that I deserved. And that was really my life leading all the way up till kind of just one day said, fuck it, I don't care anymore. And I'll talk on anything, and I'll try anything, and I'll admit my failures, and I'll try to better myself. And that was when I was in the 30s. So yeah, there was a lot. I just didn't know there was there.
Yeah, because you think back, that was probably 10, 15 years ago when you're going through all this. I think about that time too, and playing sports, being the jock, being the popular kid in school, like how little there was no talking about it, any form of mental health, any form of the bullying or the hazing, like that shit was swept all under the rug because you didn't want to be called a pussy. It's wild to think like it wasn't that long ago, but the problems are still being dealt with now. They're being talked about, thankfully, but like just looking back at playing sports and playing competitive sports, especially, that how much damage it probably did to a lot of people.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. Like I don't think of myself as doing that to others. I'm sure I did. I don't think of others older than that doing that to me. Mine was really just I was I was just unsure of who I was. Just in a way of, I was just unsure of who I was, and I just played up to the role people saw me, even though I didn't believe it, and I just let that happen. I felt no shit. No one pushed anything on me, was negative towards me. I just couldn't fill the shoes that society and the world expected of a 6'7" athletic dude. Right. Because I didn't prepare myself, and that's what weighed on me. The other aspect, you're 100% right. I just don't like stepping into an area that I'm not really part of. That wasn't really part of my life.
Right. Okay, so Never Alone. So now you've launched this business. What's it all about?
Never Alone is I am still learning as I go. I can be honest with you. I'm a first-time business owner. I've done essentially I've done this all myself with help from people here and there who've been amazing enough to help me. But essentially from growing a social media platform, awareness to learning videos, podcasts like you, everything online that is needed to get this done, I figured out over the last 3 years.
Right.
But the basis where Never Alone is, I want it to be a platform, an area where people start feeling confident that they can talk. They can just have these conversations like we're having. And that's why I have a lot of conversations, just to show others that it's not as scary as you think. And what I want Never Alone to happen is I want to have 100,000 people come through my website and through my blogs, through YouTube videos, my Mental Health Mondays, through Instagram posts, tweets. I want them to tell a version of their own Never Alone story. That's really where I want to go with this. And have them have a platform so they can be heard. Because I really do think people, there's obviously different realms, but I think one area is that people do want to be talk to someone. They just don't think anyone will care to listen. They just don't want to lay their guts and heart out on the line on a Facebook post, an Instagram post, a tweet, a blog. unfortunately, because that's how we look at the world right now. We don't really look in person to person as much, because it's just we do want likes, we do want comments, we do want someone who doesn't know us to say they acknowledge us.
Yeah.
And
validation.
yeah, that validation, it's just there. It is. I would love for these people to have those conversations with their family and their parents and their therapists, but I believe if they start with that, they can come over and do this, or if I can help them voice their opinion and their never alone story through social media, then they can take that to a therapist after. They can take that to the parents after, because it's out there now. It's the world has heard it, and they can hopefully learn from it and move forward just as I have. It wasn't easy for me to talk to start off. I promise you, as I'm sure you know also. Like, I didn't just go on social media and like lay everything on the line and just every day after easily talk about it. Like, it was a struggle at times, because I'm like, God, this isn't natural.
Mm-hmm.
But after thousands of posts, it's like, yeah, you know what? It ain't that bad.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. Kind of similar to what you were saying earlier. I just reached this point. I really don't know what came over me, but like I just was like, I'm just gonna put this story out on social media and just whatever. Like, people are talking about mental health. Here's my mental health story. And that was like the first time I ever really talked about it, like, other than like a select group of people. It's amazing what just one person being honest with their experience can do for so many people. And I'm not just saying that you or me, like anybody, because 9.9999 that whatever percent of the time, whatever you are thinking, whatever you are, going through, someone out there has also had that thought or had that feeling or, whatever. And to hear, it's I'm not hear that you're not alone, that like literally this, you thought this was like the wildest thought in the world, and someone's like, no, I think that way too. Like that
100%.
power, that connection, that power. And you're, like, that's something I experienced, and I had like no idea. Like, my people like that were, teachers that I had, my parents' friends, like all these people that I knew in my life that I had no idea felt any of these things. As soon as I shared it and they shared it with me, I'm like, holy shit. Like, so many, like everybody is dealing with this shit, but yet most people like don't talk about it and just sweep it under the rug.
Yeah, or they show up in the DMs, and that's why I challenge you, and I'll challenge myself. Anyone that comes in our DMs, they're like, hey, do you want to write that on the post, in the comments, put that out there, and so let other people see it. Like, that is really why I do that. And that's why I screenshot a lot of shit and be like, hey, I got this screenshot, I want to tag you, will you let me? Because it needs to be seen. Like,
Right.
it's I think that's how you and me can help the most, because you're 100% right on that. It is. People do want to talk about it, and they find ways, but they find safe ways. We need to get you a little uncomfortable to grow. Like, it's not easy to get out of your anxiety and depression, and it does come back. Like, I'm not fully out. I don't think anyone ever is fully out. Like, are you riding a fine line? If I don't work out for 5 days and I eat some like cakes 4 days in a row, and I wake up whenever I want, I know I will start feeling depressed in ways. That's just my triggers. I know those ones will hit, and other stuff in my life will bring the triggers. As in, if something happens with work that I didn't expect and it kind of jams up my thing, like it will, because it's like, shit, here I am by myself, and like, got to write a blog post, got to do 3 videos, got to do this, got to send out 2 hoodies, got to wait for my hoodies to come in because they're being delayed and ordered, and I have people wait and I feel bad. Like, anything can trigger it.
Right.
But that trigger is kind of, you need that thing to push you to grow. It needs to push on that safety bubble and be like, hey, we're here. Come just attack one thing. Come do one thing that makes you uncomfortable. And you'll wake up tomorrow and be like, that wasn't that bad. Let me try something new. Let me try something new. Now, don't take the whole world on at one time, but one thing, like, I'm going to DM Ryan and comment, say, hey man, thanks for that post. Ryan then says, hey, would you mind sharing the comments? I think would help someone. oh, that's fucking stressful. I can't do that. I'm going, okay, I'll do it. You put it out there, someone likes it, someone comments on it. I'm like, oh, that feels great. Wake up the next morning, shit, what can I do today to push myself? That's how I see it.
Yeah, that's a huge thing for mental health too, is that push.
Yeah.
It's because that's exactly what your anxiety and depression are telling you not to do, to just, you know, retreat into yourself, into safety, hide under the covers. But like when you push and you succeed, you know, it's like that feeling. I know you're saying you like getting into the gym and stuff. Now I work out, you know, 6 days a week right now during the pandemic because there's nothing else to do. But I don't find going into the gym or working out or exercise like natural outside of sports.
Okay,
so you know, there's times when I really don't want to do it, when I'm like, I'm sore, I don't feel good, like I just really would rather not, and I'll do it. And I'm like, the feeling of me doing it like just makes me feel so good. I'm like, I fucking did it, like, yeah. And you know, it might be working out for some people. It might, you know, getting through the day without eating a bunch of disgusting food. Maybe, like you said, it's sending that person the DM. It's, you know, reaching out to your crush, like whatever it is that you push yourself to do. And when you do it, sometimes regardless of outcome, like the rush you get from actually fucking doing it is like worth almost every penny of the angst before you had to do it.
Yeah. And I want to add on to that. Like once you've done it, someone's listening, okay, I'm going to try that. Then don't just sit back on your laurels and be like, oh, good, I'm good for the month, I did that one thing. No, like,
Yeah,
this is where I'm kind of the anti mental health advocate in a way, because I don't call bullshit, but I kind of say it like it is for me. And I understand everyone's in a different space and time. And I get that. And I haven't been through a lot of situations other people have. Like, man, I've never even thought about killing myself in this time. It just didn't come up in my head. So I can't say I know what you were going through. And I would never say you're wrong. So that, like, I don't want to be talking to someone who just can't handle it. But if you're in this little thing of space, like anxiety and depression, and like just these things come up and make you just feel like you want to hide inside, well, do something to try to get outside. And then once you've done that one thing, duplicate it for 7 days. And then once it feels comfortable, find a next step ahead and duplicate both those things for the next 7 days. And then once that's comfortable, go on to the third thing. Just like training, just like diet, just like everything, you start small and build up. Because if you just sit on your laurels off of that one thing, like, yeah, it's going to be really hard to go anywhere out of that depression more than just one step. You can't just keep reverting back to that step. And I know it's hard for some people to listen to me because I'm not it's okay, just do what you need to do for yourself all the time. But I think society and everything, we need that little push. There needs to be a push at times. And it's hard for us to do it. Some people have a hard time pushing.
Yeah, it's the trickiest thing I've learned and have kind of grappled with since, you know, getting involved in like the mental health space is that line between the push and the line between the compassion. And, you know, it's a tricky line to walk. You know, everyone's different. I know if, you know, I don't push myself, or if I don't get a push from people, then like I'm literally not going to do anything. So I'm that type of person who sometimes needs that
so
tough
you need
love.
A push.
Yeah,
Good to know.
I need
if you
the tough
come to
love.
me, I'm gonna push you. All right.
But you know, then there's other people that, you know, unfortunately are fragile, and I don't mean that in a sense of, you know, like quote unquote snowflake or something, but they're just in a fragile state of mind. And sometimes when they get that tough love or the push, sometimes it backfires and it crumbles. And it's, you know, some people fluctuate, and some people, you know, it's such a delicate line to walk. And I've had that conversation on this podcast a few times with advocates, with a counselor, with, you know, people who are professionals and know the space a little bit more. I'm like, how do you navigate that? Because it's one of the trickiest things, because you really don't know.
Yeah, and you especially don't know social media. Like you probably don't know the person. You're just getting a text. You like, yeah, you can't vibe. Like it's for us who aren't professionals. It's really like we shouldn't be talking. To be honest with you, it's not our realm, but we do want to help people. So you're right. How do you know? But I'm because I know if I didn't push, I'd still be at the same fucking place, and I wouldn't be talking to you. So it's like if people ask me what I would suggest, well, I'm gonna say it how I would do it myself. Unless I catch a serious vibe of they can't handle it, then I get it. But I'll tell them to come back in a week or two when they start feeling better. Then let's have this conversation again.
Yeah, because you get that thing. It's like, I know you follow people on the mental health Twitter, especially, that like you try to advocate for exercise, which literally, like, diet and exercise are like the two things you can control that will make a significant impact on your mental health, like positive impact.
Fucking cornerstone.
Yeah,
you want to get better, do that for free, and you got a good start.
Yeah, and people will deny that, will push back on it for whatever reason. Yeah. And I don't get into spats about any of that stuff anymore. Like, when I see it, I'm just like, whatever. Mm-hmm. If like, because there's no sense of, I don't do Twitter fights anyway, because it's just a fucking shit show. But it's I don't even know why it's controversial, because like, you come from a health background, especially, like seriously, it's the two, that and connect, like getting outside and getting out, like to nature in some form, going for a walk, or sitting in the sun, or whatever, like those three things that nature give us. And we talk about that thing called the blue zone, where you have those pockets of the world where people are super happy and they live a long time and there's like no depression. It's like, okay, what do? Well, they eat a natural diet. They're not necessarily going to the gym, but they're farming, they're fishing, they're living more of a kind of traditional nomadic lifestyle, and they're outside. And
that's
like,
where I'm living, man.
Like,
that's Canada. It's too cloudy.
It's cold. That's the problem. It screws us. But you know what I mean? Like, it's almost like you go back to that primal nature of what it means to be human, those fundamentals, and like that will give you such a positive start.
You and I know people don't want realistic. They want like tomorrow. I can't give you mental health by tomorrow. I can give you a plan for the next 6 months, and if you somewhat follow it, if you have a step back, but then you know what's going to happen, and then 2 days later you move forward. If you do this, I can probably help you, even though I'm not a professional, even though I haven't done schooling, I haven't done this, but I can set you up, and you can set someone up. But they don't want to hear that, because they want something tomorrow. Yeah. It's just society.
Yeah. And with all the free resources we have, you can do, mental health first aid. You can do all these things for free to try to help yourself and help others in a more constructive way than, just supporting bad habits because it's easy and it's safe. It's, like I said, it's a tricky line, but there's a lot of stuff people can do, and they just, I don't know if they ignore it or, just don't know about it, but it's one of the unfortunate things when you get into the space and you see people that, they enjoy the sympathy and they enjoy kind of playing that card, and, and that's what they choose to do with it. So.
And I think we do have some advocates that help, they play off that card also.
Yeah.
They push that card for them to get, like, I'm here for you. I'm feeling down today. And I get that. Like, I felt down. I put those tweets out there. But a lot of advocates and a lot of people with like a following, like, they don't give any actionable pieces for their followers, their mass people that are following them. Like, hey, do this today. You've got this. Like, let me give you this blog on how to start working out. Let's give you some tips. Like, there are a lot of people that just play off the retweet, like,
and comment, "You're also sad at the same time. Good, we're in this together." Like, nah, fuck that. Let's find our way out together.
Yeah. No, yeah, I agree with that, like 100%. And I appreciate that there's other people trying to, put out some positivity when it comes to mental health and, move things forward instead of keeping, holding things back. It's like I said, it's tricky, but if we all just sat there and be sad all the time and we're okay with being sad all the time, then we're going to sit there and continue to be sad all the time.
Exactly.
And if you don't have a reason to try to push forward, what are we doing then? If the goal of depression and mental health and anxiety and all these things is not to try to get better, like, we both acknowledge it happens with me, it happens with you. Like, you're never fully okay, and we get that.
Yeah.
And there'll be setbacks. But if the goal is not to get better, then like, what are we trying to do? Like,
that's it, man. Mental health. How about that? Fuck mental health. Give me mental health. Give me something tangible to follow. Yeah. And that's like, really, that's where I'm going with Never Alone. To go back to Never Alone. That's where I'm taking it. That's what I want to do. I'm going to give tangible pieces. Not even just me. I want it from other people. Like, I don't want to always be telling my story. I don't want Never Alone to be me. I want it to be the community. But I want it to be people who are willing to inspire. And you never know what can be inspiring. Even if you haven't done anything that you think is inspiring, you can inspire into others.
Right. You had, what's his face? You just had him on.
Paul Miner.
Yeah, man. I love that guy. That guy is out there and he is killing it. Like, totally. Absolutely. Like, gives no fucks.
Yeah.
I when I see people like that, like, I'm like, those are my people. Like, that's who I see. And like, they're just out there working and trying to get after it. And like, no excuses, put the work in. But taking you through the real time too, right? Like, that's what I also appreciate. And that's what I appreciate about you. Like, sure, we're talking about motivation and all these things, which is important, but you're also not afraid to put the I feel like shit thing out also. And that's what I appreciate with that and what I mean from him as well. That real time kind of taking us through the journey of your mental health, where it's not like you make one post a year, where it's just like, I have depression and blah, blah, blah. It's like, here's the good, here's the bad. And like, we see it all. And that's what I appreciate from people.
I think everyone does. And I think that's why also he's grown, and why you and me have a voice is you gotta give people want to see failure, first of all, but they love you more seeing someone who freaking drops to the floor and then fights their way back up.
Yeah.
Like, that is it. Like, and it's not, I don't always want to, especially like, I'll be honest with you, it's been a while since I've had a really dark down day, which I'm stoked on. Especially bringing this clothing and mental health company to life and all this stuff. Like, there's a lot of new shit that could have torn me down if I wasn't playing it right and I hadn't built up a strong ground floor in the last 2 years. But it's hard sometimes. Like, I just don't feel down as much. But the thing is, I know if I don't follow my routine and I don't do these things, it will come. But like, I don't want to make that happen just so I could put a pity post out there. It's a weird thing.
Right.
It's a weird thing, but people love it. Like, you got to get that in there if you want to. Like, if you don't want to, that's cool. But if you want to help others, I think you should give both areas, and you should definitely give a lot of positives. I have a hard time with people who just keep posting down stuff. I'm like, I understand I had some dark times 100%, but you have to have some positive things to be out there. Be like, yo, this day is good. I'm going to make the most of it. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
People want to hear that.
Absolutely. And just to touch on, for people who don't know, Paul Miner is on Twitter. And, he's a guy who's trying to overcome his demons, his obesity. And
yeah.
He's out there posting workout videos. And even with the pandemic, he's milk jugs and
Yeah.
water cases. I'm like, shit, dude.
I love that. I was like, when he said he was gonna do home workouts, I thought he had some like weights or something. Nope,
Yeah.
24 pack of water, going for it, and it's impressive. And man, yeah, like 19 years old too. Shit.
Yeah, and that takes a lot for a 19-year-old. Like you were
Oh,
saying,
yeah.
like it didn't happen for you till you were late 20s. It was like mid 20s. Man, 19?
No, mine was no. My actual one where I was like, "Fuck it," finally, like how he is now. I was like 31.
Yeah.
I was still fighting in my 20s. I just had some real dark times. I just didn't know how to get out. I was like 31 by the time I actually was like, "Whoa, this is how you have to act."
Yeah. Yeah. You see people like him, and he's posting, he's honest, but he's positive. Even when he's negative, he's positive. Like
Yeah,
that's 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 someone you gravitate towards too.
yeah.
That's because if I watch like these really like extreme guys like who I hear on Rogan, like David Goggins and
Okay,
Cameron
yeah.
Haynes, and I'll see the insane shit they're doing, and I'm just like, okay, I'm for sure not running an ultra marathon, but if they're gonna go out there and do that, like I can go run 5K, and like
Yeah.
that's like the rationalization, right, to get out. But you see people doing these things, and you're just like, oh fuck, man, if he's gonna do it, I can do it for sure. I'm gonna join him, and then I'm gonna tell him about it after. Hey man, I saw that
Yeah,
video, and it was amazing, and I want to let you know because of it I went and I worked out for 30 minutes. Like that's kind of what we need. That's what we bring each other up.
definitely, 100%. And one thing about Paul, man, like he doesn't have agenda. Like it's just honest. He's there. His biggest goal is to lose weight. Just from the conversation, I could tell, and better himself. And then this whole social media, everything is like a positive. There's just an extra cherry on top for him, just because it's super cool. He's got like a bunch of like DJs that love him and tweet him out and shit like that. Like it's neat. It's really neat.
Right. One kind, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I
That's cool.
always like to ask the
I'm down for
questions
it.
that I always call them like the devil advocate questions, because I know people think about these things, and sometimes people don't get asked.
Put me on the
question
spot.
is,
Let's go.
yeah, the question is, people have a hard time when people make a business about mental health. They feel
Yeah.
it's kind of like exploiting
Uh-huh.
it or whatever. I'm just wondering, what's the rationale behind it? How do you kind of answer those naysayers, those people who might not be vibing with you on it?
I 100% felt this over, let's see, not this year, all of 2019, 100%. I was like, okay, this is my game plan. This is what I'm doing. I know where I want to take it, but at the moment, I don't have the stuff out there that gives value for me creating this a business. And that's where I take it. Like and it was hard. I had some times I'm like, shit, like people are just going to call me out. And I was like, should I stop? Should I do this? Am I just using this as an agenda for something else? But right now, man, fuck them if they say that. That's what I'm saying right now. And I haven't had any of that. I've only had like two. Actually, be honest with you, I've only had 3 very negative comments this whole time of me going through this.
Right.
And we can talk about this bit after, but it's definitely due to my privilege. I'm going to put it out there. A tall, white, good-looking dude. Like
Right.
I am privileged in this area, but we won't talk about that at this moment. But because what I'm saying is like, I don't feel like I am, like what you said is I don't feel like I'm doing it at all because of the value I am Never Alone art giving.
Mm-hmm.
Like I am creating Never Alone to give value to help people. I am selling clothing to get money to create more content because I don't have any other way to make income to pay for this business to grow.
Right.
I am doing this so I can create 2 blogs a week of helpful information. I'm doing this so I can talk to people like you on my own YouTube channel and podcast in the future and have people listen and be inspired. I am doing this so I can in the future have my own organization set up and be donating money into areas I choose every month. Like that's the goal with So I am never not going to be putting something out there with the money I'm taking in
Right.
to give back. Now, at some point, if it goes how I plan, yeah, I'll be making a lot more money than I am now. And that's just a society. That's just world. If I'm creating something valuable and people want to give me money and I put it into exactly what I'm saying I'm going to do, but there's a surplus on top, well, fuck, I have to keep my lights on. I got to eat. I can't be living in my mom's house, which I still am at 35 because I moved back to launch the business. Yeah. So to be honest, I hadn't thought about that for at least 6 months because I've just been so proud of what I've created and I understand what it's doing for people. And yeah, I kind of shot past that point at the end of last year.
Well, forgive me for being the asshole to bring it back up again.
No, fuck yeah, it's gotta be heard. It's gotta be heard because
Yeah.
it is one of those things. Like I really thought about it a lot as it started. When I didn't have everything there that I wanted to create because I didn't really know how to do it. But as I've learned and grown and created it, I'm like, yeah, I am creating value for, can't be everyone. There's 7 billion people in the world. Not everyone's going to like me, but the ones that have shot me DMs, have bought my hoodies, have done this. And they've showed me that, yeah, there are people that are listening and are grateful for what I'm doing.
Right. So, I mean, you've kind of mentioned some things like on the aside, but so you get the blogs out, and I know you've put out some good stuff. I read the one on anxiety, working from home. That's a big one. So this is basically you're trying to make like kind of like a multimedia content focusing around mental health company is kind of the plan.
Yeah. And it's unless you want to finish that, I can dive right into where my
go right ahead.
So it's like we said, there's a lot of content out there for people. Like everything you need to try to find your way to get out of where you are is online. Like everything. That at least to start, until you find the right doctor, find a prescription, find the right therapist, find the right gym, whatever it is, someone can help you in some form online. I believe just the online content that we have is just not tangible and easy to digest by people in 2020. It's just a shitty blog that looks bad and has horrible layout and jungled with letters, and there's no pictures and there's no infographics, and it doesn't link to an Instagram page where you can be inspired by stuff throughout the stories. Yeah, so like I'm trying to combine that with your modern day influencer, where
right.
I don't like the modern day. I like where influencers are changing, where they're actually giving value. It's not really about how hot my body is as much. Like that doesn't ride so high in the analytics anymore, like you gotta have comments, you gotta have all this stuff. So it's getting better. But in my mind is like mixing in a valuable influencers and stuff like that, giving value, while at the same time like living life, someone that you can follow day to day and they don't preach too much mental health. I think that's also another thing us advocates do. All we fucking talk is anxiety and depression. Like, go out for the gym, go eat, do stuff, like talk about last time you had sex. Like, why can't we talk about that?
Sex is huge for mental health, everybody. I don't know if you know this, but
well, there's areas around everything. So I'm just really trying to bring the whole daily life into people's lives, just how it is, and then touch in parts of mental health here. And if they like it, they can find out more on the blog. They can find out more in an interview with you. They can find out more by someone else's video that was created for it. They can find out more by reading someone else's Never Alone story once they start rolling. Yeah, it's just making it easier to digest for people. And then with that, if it's easier, then it becomes more common talk. Like, oh, did you watch that tweet? Did you see that video? Yeah, he did that. Yeah, he went to therapy. Yeah, I'm going to therapy tomorrow. I decided to start going. Like, just those conversations. Like, why can't we just normalize it?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And that's kind of like, the reason I started this podcast in a lot of ways is, it's not all about mental health. That's not the only thing I talk about. I had a astrophysicist on last one. Like, you know, I just
Shit.
learning is fucking fun, and talking to
Yeah.
people is super fun because, you know, we've never met in real life. We've had a few exchanges over Twitter, but, you know, we're sitting down having, you know, an
Hey
hour.
man, I made you a love you YouTube video that was like out to you saying I'm sorry. Don't forget to mention
That's
that
true.
one.
You did. But, you know, it's finding connection with people outside of the normal realms. You know, I work, my day job is radio, so I work in traditional media. And, you know, we have this conversation all the time. How do you reach millennials? How do you reach Generation Z? How do you make this content that's gonna pop, right? You know, their peers can do it. People can reach out to their peers, but when you're like a company and a corporation, like how do you do it? And, you know, no one ever wants to invest in the type of content that it's, you know, the level of work that's it's going to take to reach these people.
And
So,
organic, because it needs to be organic.
yeah.
You can't just pay someone. Yeah.
And like I said, like how hard that is nowadays, you know, even for a massive corporation to get engagement.
Mm-hmm.
You know, think about small time creators. It's even harder unless you catch you know, some lightning in a bottle. But, you know, bringing it back to that conversation about starting a business, and, you know, does it feel weird or bad that, you know, if we want these things to come out and to work for us and to help and to get people reading it and talking about it and interacting and engaging with it, you know, like, you need people dedicated to doing this full time and, you know, able to make a living and able to put out the shit we need. Because if you just rely on everybody being a volunteer and dedicating all their time, like you said, you get that blog work that's, you know, it's a copy and paste and they wrote it together in 2 seconds and there it is. And does that provide value?
Yeah.
It's like, no, you need all that shit, like all the infographics and pictures and videos.
And you want to talk about how long that fucking takes to make? Jesus.
Even making a podcast graphic like takes me 30 minutes. And I even have templates built. I'm like, for God's sakes.
Bro,
you know, and
my blogs, like full time, like the whole thing is at least 10 to 14 hours.
Yeah, man. Like, in a way, because I don't do this podcast full time, like I could do a lot more with it, but, you know, I don't have time to sit there and cut up all these different video clips. Like, I don't edit these podcasts unless like something really needs to get edited out. Like I put some effects on it, I clean up the sound, but like I don't chop things out and put sound effects in. And, you know, it's just
good. It's raw. It's real. I like it how you do it.
Yeah, like that's what I want, right? It's a real conversation, flubs, coughs, and all. But what I'm trying to get at is like having the time to sit there and put the content that's really going to engage people. You need to pay people for that stuff. You can't get it for free because no one has that time. No one has that level of time to get it right for free.
No,
it's impossible.
100%. And especially on one post, like you need to pay for it, and you need to pay them 6 months up front of not being seen, because it's going to at least take that long to get enough stuff out there to have people conversating on your thing. Like, it just doesn't happen. Like, this is a whole new realm. It's a great realm because there's a lot of free ways to get seen, but you just got to get at it.
Well, I'm curious, and I don't know if you want to share it or not, but you know, in terms of like business grants and stuff like that, like, is what you're trying to do like supported as a small business, or, you know, like, I don't know if you even looked into it or have the answer, but it's a new form of business. It's not the traditional, I'm starting a donut shop, or, you know, do we support that as a society, as a government, as taxpayers, like in any way? Like, is there ways to build that?
You know, there probably is. This is one of the worst things I'm least good at, is looking out and finding things for myself to use in this realm. Like, I'm not good at taking the time to search for that, I'd rather take the time and create a piece of content.
Right.
I was helped though. I will definitely say this. Because I post so much. One of my posts on LinkedIn was seen by a guy in my area, Vancouver, and he helps small businesses. And he actually worked with a company called Rise, and they're actually out of Toronto. And they give loans and they give small business help to entrepreneurs who have struggled and are struggling with mental health issues.
Oh.
So I can even throw them your way. I'll give info. But I got a small loan from them to help me get started. To be honest with you, like a $5,000 loan at starting business gives you nothing.
That's
with
fair,
the way I'm doing it. It's still, I have to look for more, but it was definitely a big help and something I've needed. And they've set me up with a mentor, and it was the man who helped me set me up like 4 months, helped me push my way through the whole learnings of starting a small business, this was where had no idea where I was going. I had a vision. I just didn't know how to make it. So there's that. And to be honest with you, I think there is stuff. I just haven't found it. I also, because of the clothing, and I'm not putting it to charity, I'm doing it to create more content, which, to be honest with you, is kind of like charity in my mind, because it's free and it helps more people, because it helps them change themselves. So we don't have to worry about them relying on others, but that's not for me to say. That I think I would have an issue with that. But once again, I haven't actually checked anywhere that I know of. So I'd like to find some extra money to help me get going, so I don't have to get more money on my bank account. Tell you that much.
Always helps, yeah.
Or if someone from this show can go buy a hoodie, that'd help out, because that way I could create the next piece quicker and create more.
There you go. Everyone go buy a hoodie.
Please.
Well, I mean, from what I know, I'm not a business owner, but talking to entrepreneurs on this podcast and friends and people I've met, that you're on the right path, especially with the mentor aspect. Like I hear from that all the time. Like that's an invaluable kind of step in leading your way through the entrepreneurial life. Cause like you said, you yourself is trying to put content. So to also learn how to make a profitable business and make the right decisions is, that's a whole other step. That's a whole other full-time job on top of what you're already trying to do.
No, and you're right, and thank you. And it is. I'm not going to complain. I put myself here, but it is definitely having people help you, reaching out to those around you. If you're looking to start something, ask. People want to help, but I will say you better act on what they say if it's positive for you, to show them that you are grateful. The best way to show someone, a mentor, that you're grateful is to do what they say and keep growing. Because if you're stagnant for too long, it's going to be like, well, we're just going to go back to square one. What did I tell you 2 months ago? You need to start here. That's some people might be more patient than me, but I would have it would be hard to keep a mentorship going if the mentee isn't ready to go.
Right. Yeah, they just keep talking to you and you're like, yeah, and just don't ever do anything. I don't think it's going to be a very long-lasting relationship.
It's like anxiety and depression. You got to make that step first.
Absolutely. Listen, man, I appreciate you coming on here and sharing this stuff and sharing your platform. We'll make sure I put all those links and share it on social media. But for people listening, where can people find you if they want to read some of your blogs and check out some of your content?
We'll start off with me. I've realized actually this Neverloan's been launched for 3 weeks. And due to the amount of time it makes content and everything like that, it is there, but I am going to grow my brand and myself as a bigger piece to help it grow. So if you want to contact me and read a bunch of stuff and interact with me daily, you can find me at Tall Paul's Life on Twitter and Instagram. And then to read more blogs and everything else like that, where there's valuable information, it's coming out weekly. It is weareneveralone.co. And that's where you can find .co. Man, do you want to know how hard it was to find a domain name with Never Alone in it?
that didn't cost me $100,000 because someone owned it and they're like, yep, you want it, you can pay for it.
Damn.
Yeah, they were all taken. So I'm happy neverloans.co. But that is where you can go shop, and the blog and all the other fun information on my origin story and where I want to take Never Alone.
Beautiful, man. Tall Paul, everybody, give it up. Thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
Ron, thank you. I'm glad we made this happen, brother.
Yeah, it took a while. Peace, man.
You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.